Huawei at first has a really good reputation. They have, in my opinion, or in our opinion, really good technical solutions and the best price-performance review.
Alışkanlıklarımız var. Sadece Amerikan menşeli şirketler değil çalıştığımız şirketler. Dolayısıyla özellikle ürün yelpazesindeki genişlik.
I have to say Huawei video conference is very good, and during the deployment Huawei team is professional and fully support, done on time.
大家坚定了 AGP 公司选择华为作为我们数字化转型的战略合作伙伴。
We know about the good quality and the service and the customer oriented. Overall, we are very satisfied with Huawei.
On my knee, and she says, Daddy, what's wrong? She whispers in my ear so sweet. Do you know what she says? Daddy, you're a fool to cry. You're a fool to cry. And it makes me wonder why.
Strong foundation and customer focus. That's the two aspects of this partnership with Huawei and InfoVista.
The quality is very good. The support from the Huawei is also very close to our team.
The UCV platform from Huawei SD1 is very strong, very scalable. Us, we are also multi-tenant, so it matches very well what you can expect for large organization in global deployment.
中国跟华为的合作，提升了公司的这个竞争能力。
而且我们希望能够跟华为公司合作，把这个平台越建越好。
我们相信呢，我们的未来的合作更加的深入，也希望我们通过我们的这个强强联合，给我们两个公司的客户都带来业务的发展。
On my knee, and she says, Daddy, what's wrong? She whispers in my ear so sweet. Do you know what she says? Daddy, you're a fool to cry. You're a fool to cry. And it makes me wonder why.
I think one of the key strengths that Huawei have is it's one of the few systems integration houses or companies.
What Huawei offers in terms of SD-WAN is a much broader portfolio.
And with the help of Huawei, we already have had some trials using 5G.
Huawei has a substantial investment in that, and as such, I see Huawei as one of the leading vendors in that race.
我知道华为也在做整个的 AI 的应用体系，其实是个很好的技术。这个时候你发现你会很好的去节省这些成本出来。
Huawei has introduced AI Fabric, which is a very unique solution.
This portfolio is simply amazing.
We were able to confirm that the Huawei ECN solution improves the latency by 18% at average, and the amount of I/O operations per second improved by 8% at average. So pretty good results.
Huawei is a completely different vendor to all of our other vendors that we have.
Özellikle Türkiye'de HP, Dell, Cisco'yu son derece rahatsız eden bir üretici, endişe duyulan bir üretici. Hem ürün kalitesi, hem rekabetçi gücü, hem ekibiyle diğerlerine karşı ciddi bir rakipler.
And it's unique because it combines several different technologies.
And the amount of research and development at Huawei makes it quite unique in this marketplace.
Je crois que Huawei est l'un des rares, toutes les composantes qui peuvent donc être utiles à établir donc une ville sûre et sécurisée.
I think the importance for the industry is that the Huawei Cloud AI Fabric solution generally improves the application layer performance for very large-scale, very compute and network-intensive applications in the data center.
So strong that I can't disguise. Oh my, let's spend the night together. But I just can't apologize. Oh, let's spend the night together. Don't hang me up and don't let me down. Don't let me down. We could have fun just grooving around and around. Let's spend the night together. Now I need you more than ever. Let's spend the night together now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Digital Transformation of Industry Summit is about to begin. Just another 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you for joining. Please take your seat and enjoy. Let's hope the microphone works and my voice reaches the end of this room, which is where everybody is. Who is happy to be here? No show of hands, only a few. Okay, so Dubai, thank you. Dubai has set a target that says that they want to be the happiest city in the world. But today I think we should challenge that. Today I think Barcelona should be the happiest city in the world. So again, who is happy to be here? Of course, every hand is up. Every hand is up. You are here, you're here at the Digital Transformation of Industries Summit. Please keep this in mind. You are not at a Digital Transformation Summit for tourism, smart cities, or governments. You are here at a Digital Transformation Summit for industries. This means a very complex subject matter. And we have a great lineup of speakers who are pioneers in their digital transformation process that will share information with us, with all of us, on how they did that. It has been said, and you can Google this, or if you don't like to Google this, you can search it on the web via any search engine you want, but probably Google is the most accurate in this case. It has been said that today, there are more people alive than have ever lived. There are more people alive today that have ever lived. Now, what is that doing? How is that affecting urbanization, social inclusion, employability, talent development? What does that do for waste management? What does that do for digital transformation? Before we learn from the pioneers who have already done that, let's talk a bit about the foundation, the digital foundation that is able to carry this. And before we look under the hood of the car, the vehicle that drives the digital transformation, it's my honor to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is going to touch upon the part that paves the path, that lays the foundation. He is the director, he is a board director of Huawei Enterprise Business Group. He is the president of the Huawei Enterprise Group. It's Mr. Yen Lida.
Friends, distinguished guests, good afternoon. Sorry. Welcome to Huawei's Digital Transformation Summit. The topic of my speech today is about Huawei's digital platform. About 10 years ago, those digital native companies like Airbnb and Uber took advantage of the internet to create the new business models and disrupting the conventional industries. But now, the industry leaders are in the spotlight. So by doing the fourth industrial revolution, which is powered by digital transformation. The Gartner survey shows that 42% of CEOs say digital first or digital to the core, and 61% of CEOs plan to increase IT investment in 2019. So we are now in a time not to discuss whether or not to do business, to do a digital transformation, but it's the time to discuss how. The IDC has analyzed and produced a 5-level maturity model covering the different stages of digital transformation. The result shows that there's still a long way to go because there are still many barriers ahead of us. Here are some of them. So just like this iceberg shows, so the measurement data accounts only 10% of the total data, and approximately about 90% of those data actually has not been collected, censored, collected, and analyzed. If we focus just on those 10% of management data, it will produce very limited value of business. If we can digitalize the physical world and get those data converged with management data, it will achieve a real data-driven new business model. But in order to get the physical world digitalized and linked to the management data, it requires very sophisticated technologies. So in order to do the digital transformation, we need to introduce those technologies to construct a new system with a new architecture. But our business is running on the legacy system. So what shall we do? Shall we replace our legacy systems with the new system? Or maybe there's a better way. We can accommodate our old IT system and get it connected to the new one and mine the data from the old IT system. So the only question is how to do that. So I believe most of the CIOs prefer the second idea. So the research shows that the complexity of integrating the digital technologies with businesses is increasing exponentially. So the reason is that because in order to do the digital transformation, we need to involve the new technologies like cloud, big data, the mobile, IoT, etc. So the number of technology increases, so the complexity will increase as well. How can we have sufficient technology experts who know all those technologies in a reasonable time? Because we know in order to master a new technology, it takes quite a long time, something like 3 years. So like the management master, Dr. DeLuca said in his books, so enterprises will never have enough gifted people. The purpose of an organization is to enable ordinary human beings to do extraordinary things. So no CEOs in the world is patient enough because the business is changing so rapidly. The reality is totally a contrast. Due to the complicated of the systems, it just doesn't work. It's just not so easy to happen in a week or two. So today, I would like to share some of the practices of Huawei's own digital transformation. So Huawei is not a digital native company, but we are a multinational corporation. So we do businesses like 2B, 2C, and also 2 partners. So very, very complicated. So we have the global operations. So our employees, 180,000 employees, work in 900 offices located in 170 countries. And we are doing business with partners as many as 150,000. There are more than 1,000 applications running on more than 70 data centers across the world. So very similar to many other companies, we have legacy systems. Those systems have those old architectures. Most of our IT systems are siloed. We don't have the real-time OT service perception. So this is the business result of the last few years. We maintain a 2-digit revenue growth in the last 3 years. But at the same time, our the number of employees keeps almost the same. No increased employee number. So during this period, the application rollout time has been shortened from 6 to 9 months to 1 to 4 weeks. And the inventory cycle time has been shortened from 7 days to 1.2 days. And the delivery efficiency has been improved by 30%. So behind this result, the digital transformation definitely is the driving factor. There are 9 major practices of Huawei's digital transformation, covering all aspects of our business operations. So today, I would like to use the smart campus as an example. This is the complexity in front of us, how to manage those things, because we have 7,000 meeting rooms worldwide, and our employees, as I said just now, working in so many countries, and there are 860 million square meters of office area need to be managed, and there are as many as 6 million connections in our campus. So the challenges in front of us is that, first of all, we need to secure the safety. But at the same time, we also need to improve the experiences, not only our employees, but also the visitors. And also we need to reduce the cost and improve the efficiency. So we developed a so-called smart campus solution using the digital platform as the core. So this platform is cloud-based, so we use private cloud for this case. And we orchestrated the new technologies like video intelligence, IoT, big data, and the integrated communication platform, and also JIS. And also we have this data convergence and the service enablement layer. So there are many partners working together with Huawei, so they develop those applications. Finally, we are able to manage our campus using the IOC. So you can see it's on top of this image, Intelligent Operations Center. So based on IoT plus JIS, a new digital assets management application is developed. So with this comprehensive application, so we're able to manage and all our 280,000 valuable assets. So this application provides the automated inventory, distribution, and the tracking. So based on ICP plus video plus JIS, so we have developed a new emergency management process. In case of a fire alarm, we are able to respond within 2 minutes now, because we know where the fire alarm happens. We know who are the nearest security guards. And we have different kinds of communication ways to send the command and the instructions, like short message, like the telephone call. And also, we will make sure all the emergency exits are opened for an evacuation. So based on IoT plus big data, we developed the energy efficiency management. Now we are able to have all those data easily connected to the system and have those data analyzed. And the efficiency and we are able to implement the optimization in real time. So in the year 2018, so just in Huawei's Shenzhen campus, we saved about 40 million kilowatts of electricity power. So this is the IOC, Intelligent Operations Center. It provides the visualization. So it provides the situational awareness. So by this IOC, we are able to see the major statistics, how the campus is running. And when the emergency happening, we are able to monitor it, and we are able to handle it in the real time. So last but not least, so this smart campus solution is based on cloud. So taking the advantage of the cloud, we are able to deploy this solution worldwide quickly. And this platform is scalable and can be centrally managed. So let's look at this case again. So here, the digital platform plays the key role. So we say Huawei has redefined the campus with the digital platform. To be clear, so this platform is not a platform talking about the business model, which is written in the book. Yeah, the book name is Platform Revolution. So that platform is a concept of business model revolution. So where the buyers and the suppliers can exchange information, products and services and currency online at an enormous level. Today, what I'm talking, the digital platform, is the concept of technology innovation. So this is a cloud-based, features orchestration of new ICT, features of data convergence. And this platform enables the service synergy and agile innovation. So this is the foundation of the digital world. This is where the digital platform positions in the total digital transformation solution. So this platform will be connected to all the digitalized devices and other legacy IT systems through the ubiquitous connections. And on top of this digital platform, the application developers will be able to develop the industry-oriented applications supporting various industries. So there are several features of this digital platform. First, it's based on the cloud. It can be public cloud, can be private cloud, and also a hybrid cloud architecture. It orchestrates the new ICTs like the IoT, the big data, video, ICP, and the JIS. Actually, you don't have to use all of those technologies at once. Maybe you can start with 2 or just 3 of them at the beginning, because it's modular design. So when you need those technology in your platform later, it can be quickly and easily added to the platform. So the data convergence and service enablement layer that two modules inside. One is called Roma, one is called ABC. So later you will see a short video. So please pay attention to that. You will see how those modules function. Last year in Shanghai, at Huawei's flagship event, Huawei Connect, we have announced our AI strategy, which is so-called full stack, full scenario. So AI is also available on this digital platform. Again, it can be available on the public cloud. It can be available on the private cloud as well. So now we call Huawei's private cloud HCS, Huawei Cloud Stack, and we call the public cloud as Huawei Cloud Online. So our target is to provide the AI with high performance, with affordable cost. By introducing the platform, we believe the security of the whole system can be upgraded to a new level. I think every layer needs to be secure individually, like the terminal layer, the connection layer, application layer. Every layer needs to be secure individually. But this digital platform actually has an AI-enhanced feature. As you can imagine, so as a company like Huawei, our system has been attacked billions of times. So by learning from those attacks, we have developed the methodology how to protect us. So those results now is embedded in our platform. Learn from it. Now I'd like to introduce this short video to you. It's about 2 minutes.
Digital platform, a result of Huawei's more than 10 years digital transformation experience, introduces the innovative concept of full-stack connection and collaboration to build a foundational digital collaboration platform. The essential objective of digital transformation is to integrate the physical world and digital world. In contrast to traditional siloed OT and IT systems, digital platform is able to directly collect more than 30 types of heterogeneous data sources. It supports common industrial protocols such as MQTT, Modbus, and OPC UA, and is compatible with mainstream IT systems, industrial devices, and IoT devices, enabling connectivity between OT and IT. Digital platform integrating new ICT capabilities like AI, video, IoT, big data, and ICP, offers unified service management, open APIs, and scenario-based APIs to partners, lowering technical thresholds and enabling partners to focus on service development. Huawei Digital Platform provides developers with drag-and-drop application development and orchestration capabilities, enabling visualized development and block-like building of service applications. Enable partners to innovate with low technical thresholds and high efficiency, finally helping customers quickly deploy applications. Huawei has built a fully connected digital collaboration ecosystem that integrates people, things, and data. Digital platform accelerates the integration of the physical world and digital world, and is dedicated to providing non-cloud native organizations with a sleek digital transformation experience.
So this digital platform originally developed for our own purpose. So but now we have been promoting this digital platform to the industry because it's not designed for one particular industry, it's for general purpose. So far, we have customers worldwide in those cases like smart cities and the cases like smart campuses and also the smart airports. So this is the cases is happening, those are happening worldwide. So the digital platform doesn't work alone, doesn't function alone. So we need to work with our partners. We work together with those partners like the application developers, even the platform itself, we need partners to work together. We need operation partners, the device partners, and also the security solution development partners. So those are the examples now working with us in many, many cases. I think in the future, this ecosystem will work together to bring us a better tomorrow, a better future. So this is today my speech. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jan Lida, Director of the Board and President of the Huawei Enterprise Business Group. So, digital transformation is like a journey. So if this platform, if this foundation that we talk about is carrying and supporting us while we drive that road, that journey, if you like, what is the vehicle that drives that road? What are the elements that carry that vehicle and what sits under the hood? Our next speaker is going to touch upon that. He is the CTO of the Marketing and Product Solutions Sales Department of the Enterprise Business Group, Mr. W.K. Leung. Sure.
You know, I really like this photo because it clearly demonstrates Huawei can make things different. So in the section by Mr. Jan Lida, a few key messages. Most of the organizations in the world undergoing digital transformation. This is not an easy process. And digital platform is a critical component for the transformation. So what we would like to do in this section is to share with you how it's built, the technology in the market for this subject, and Huawei as a technology company, what sort of strategy we are taking to address this purpose. There's a lot of information, so I will run it pretty quick. So start with how it's built. So similar to most of the technology in the ICT market, digital platform also going for the layering approach. So you can see here, different layers has been defined, including, for example, the resource layer, which consists of the resource including storage, networking, and compute. IaaS is actually the platform to manage all these resources so that the resource can be used effectively and it can be responsive to the user requirement quickly. PaaS is actually the platform for application lifecycle management. So frameworks, tools, software modules are provided so that user can develop, test, deploy, and manage the application effectively. So it's actually further divided into APaaS and GPaaS, which is talking about application-specific environment and also the generic environment across all the applications. Move up to the stack is actual applications. So after that, also talking about further this application into sublayer and components so that we can develop the technology independently for sublayers and components. Of course, there are also technology available to aggregate all this disaggregate component so that with a way to mix and match to fulfill the user requirement. And this is actually done through binding and dynamic orchestration. So in this section, I'm going to talk about the details of each of the components listed down here. So start with compute. And to a lot of customers, this is simple. It's just talking about 86. But it is no longer the case. And as a matter of fact, so-called computing or heterogeneous computing is a very hot topic in the ICT market. It attracts a lot of R&D investment. Reason is simple, because the whole industry finally realized that the hardware chipset is no longer able to catch up with the software requirement. So people finally realized that they need to come up with special chipset for different purpose. So the so-called one-size-fits-all using 86 to support all different applications is no longer working anymore. So you can see there are different technologies developed. Of course, 86 CPUs continue to be there. People move the ARM to server. FPGA is actually the technology that you can poke up the chips. GPU used to be using for graphic, and because of the parallel processing nature, people use it for AI. But finally, the industry also realized that even GPU can be further optimized for AI, and the concept of NPU, neural processing unit, has come up. TPU from Google is actually a typical example for that. Because with this, people start talking about application porting and mapping. So for sure, there will still be application continue using the 86 platform for some years to come. But we already start seeing application like web portal moving from 86 to ARM to enjoy the benefit of ARM of multi-core, lower power consumption, lower cost. Gaming, because of the mobile gaming, by default, native ARM-based. Recently, people figure out that FPGA is actually good for big data because of the high I/O capability. So people using FPGA as a CPU acceleration for big data. And as I said before, people start moving from GPU to NPU for deep learning. And of course, there must be some change in the cloud software so that we can dynamically allocate the applications to match with the underlift processing power. So this is one of the directions for compute, heterogeneous computing, application porting and mapping through the OS. Another dimension we can see is to break the barrier of the physical node. So this is what we call physical to logical node transformation. Moving forward, buying compute is no longer buying server with with different modules contained in the fixed boxes. Moving forward, you will buy the component, and all this resource, all this module will be formed as a logical node on demand by application. So by doing so, you can have an even better utilization of the modules. Of course, to do so, you need to come up with the technology to link up all this resource. So NVMe over Fabric is the direction of the industry, and as a matter of fact, our data center networking R&D is actually putting quite a lot of effort to drive it. And of course, further optimization of the cloud OS in order to leverage this capability is another must. So this is the second direction in terms of compute development. Of course, the third direction is to make the compute more suitable for AI. As what Mr. Yan said earlier, last year, October, we formally announced our overall strategy towards AI. In our view, AI is actually talking about two different dimensions. One dimension is actually the application itself. Another dimension is the enablement platform to allow people to develop and execute AI apps. So we do AI applications selectively, but the general approach is to enable the business partner to come up with AI apps. So a lot of R&D effort is actually putting on the enablement system. As said, we do have a so-called full stack approach. So we do come up with our own chipset, the Ascend family. The 310 is actually a chipset mainly for inference and also used in the edge. 910 is actually using in the data center for training. But we also have the capability to sell it in the form of IP, so that means the software can also run on other people's chipsets, so that we can have all scenario capability, so ranging from in the data center all the way to the consumer device. Similar to what CUDA in NVIDIA, we do provide the developed environment, so a lot of libraries there, so you do not need to program all it down to chipset level. We understand that in the market there's a lot of different AI framework. We respect that, so we do have plan to support multiple framework. Café is already support. We are working out on TensorFlow and PyTorch, and as a matter of fact, we are about to release our own framework that allow the application to run on our AI chipset even more effectively. We do provide application, API, but on top of that, Model Art is more or less the PaaS for AI development, so that people can develop AI application with our platform effectively. So this is the third direction we are talking about in terms of AI. Okay. Storage is the second component on resource. And they are actually talking about two different layers. So storage media itself, and also the storage array. So the whole market, talking about storage media, the whole direction of the market is to continue driving for higher performance, higher capacity, and to lower the cost. And the overall strategy is pretty simple, using flash to replace a hard disk, so-called SSD replacing the HDD. SSD is better than HDD in all dimensions, except one, cost. So the whole industry in the last few years working hard to drive the cost down. As a matter of fact, it does make some sort of progress. The TLC SSD already replacing the high-end SAS disk. We believe starting from this year, the TLC SSD will also be replacing the 10K HDD. As a matter of fact, in order to further accelerate the transition from hard disk to flash, we even come up with a special program to drive it. QLC is another type of SSD, which is basically double the density of TLC. The consumer device use it a lot, but this is not enterprise grade yet. It may take another 1 year, so probably by year 2020, it will be available to replace, the SAS hard disk. It may take 2 more years to replace the very low-end hard disk. So bear in mind, around 2022, there may be case that there may be high chance that in your data center, no more hard disk. You need to you can prepare for that. The industry is also trying to level the gap between the SSD and memory. Storage cache memory, the storage cache memory SCM is basically the technology the industry is driving. So by the end of this year, probably you will start to see product using it for metadata and cache, what we call it bit cache. Huawei as a company, we do not do the fast chipset ourselves. So we do work with business partners, strategic partners like Micron, Toshiba, Intel. But in order to differentiate ourselves, we do controller. So we come up with a controller using the partner chipset that allow us to have better features, better performance, and much lower endurance, or much higher endurance. So this is the way that we do. And as a matter of fact, we will get along more. You will probably figure out that Huawei keep on using our chipset capability to differentiate ourselves. As I said, another dimension on storage is what we call the storage away. We do see there are actually two different tracks, performance and capacity. Of course, to increase the performance, all fetch away is a direction. With all fetch away, it will be significantly improved in performance, no matter in terms of latency and IOPS. But bear in mind, using fetch is not only talking about replacing the hard disk with the fetch. As a matter of fact, people need to come up with a complete new platform in order to leverage the benefit of the fetch. Another direction is what we call the capacity. Then you can see here, the technology is what we call the scale-out with HDD. Scale-out basically is software modules. That the so-called scale-out is basically software module, leveraging the commodity hardware, and because of that, we can drive the cost down. And people using hashing as a technology so that it can mount a number of multiple nodes, and because of that, normally it can have a petabyte or even 10 petabyte capacity. So they are open source technology for this purpose, but based on our own assessment, the so-called SAF, there's a lot of problem with that, and we do completely go for in-house development. So for those people who want to know the details, we can always have the discussion offline. And the so-called scale-out for the time being, mainly using as a backup purpose. But the next step is use it for primary. But the problem with the hashing technology is that there's a very long, very high latency. So in order to solve the problem, people go for both hashing plus indexing. So that means moving forward for different applications on top, including large SAN, object, or even database, there will be an appropriate indexing layer running on top of hashing so that you can have the scalability at the same time, lower latency. And of course, further down the road, will be scale out or fetch. So this will be the platform finally to converge the so-called performance track and the capacity track. But it doesn't mean that there's no chance for the scale up, because in theory, scale out always have a higher latency than scale up, especially during node failures. So we do see the industry still moving to scale up for those critical applications. So this is how we see from storage standpoint, storage array standpoint, the performance track and the capacity track. Huawei as a company, we do follow the track. Dorado, Fusion Storage, and the Ocean Store are actually the technology or the product that we roll out. The third direction on storage is what we call the storage as a service. The whole idea is to virtualize all this storage with cost of service. This picture probably gives you a more clear idea how it's done. So you have a lot of different types of storage in the data center, all with different characteristics. And don't forget, you may also have storage in the edge. And as a matter of fact, a lot of customers also using the storage in the public cloud. And the whole idea is actually having all this virtualized and dynamic provisioning. So this solution we come up is what we call the Oceans DJ. And for those solutions, for those implementation down in the branch, Fusion Mobile is a solution we come up. So this is a strategy we do see in the storage. Networking is the third component we talk about in terms of resource. When we say networking, we are actually talking about both enterprise and campus, enterprise and carrier network. And both of it have different so-called components. But no matter enterprise or carrier, the overall direction on network is, of course, IP end-to-end. But there's an interesting progress on IPv6. Is getting more and more customers ask for IPv6, including the enterprise customer, asking for IPv6 deployment. we see the network architecture becomes organization and network decoupling. So moving forward, the network infrastructure will be moving from organization-centric to DC-centric. The industry is actually working hard to simplify the overall architecture in three different ways. Vertical consolidation with less layer. New protocol coming up to simplify it. One of the typical examples is what we call the EVPN, to consolidate all those layer 2 VPN, layer 3 VPN. Another direction is actually moving for overlay and underlay decoupling. The idea is simple. Put all those complicated functions in software running on server, and the network itself is just fast and high performance and low cost. And then for link technology, continue driving for higher bandwidth, lower latency. SDN is actually getting more mature for dynamic provisioning. For the control plane and management plane will be cloudified. And AI will be heavily used for O&M and telemetry. Internet networking, the direction we announced last year here, is actually the next step. So no matter what sort of building block we are talking about, this is the overall direction in the industry. But there are differences between backbone and access. Backbone, for sure, we go for share mode. We do not see the reason why to have many backbones. So sharing technology, there are overlay technology developed so that people can go for multi-services and multi-tenancy. Access is actually in a different direction. Access is always dedicated. So there are a number of different choices so that people can choose for different environment. But no matter what, the general direction for access technologies is, on top of the bandwidth and latency, is increasing the number of connections, no matter Wi-Fi 6, 5G, or so-called NB-IoT. So this is how we see the progress on the networking side. Wi-Fi 6 probably is the most hottest topics this year for enterprise networking. Wi-Fi itself gives you around 300% bandwidth increase compared to the old technology. But that is not the most important features. A lot of effort has been put on Wi-Fi 6 to allow you to have much larger number of effective connected devices. If you look at the existing AC technology, if you have up to 60 terminals connected, the effective bandwidth drops significantly. Wi-Fi 6 allows you to go for, at the maximum, 500. So this is a direction we can see. And because of Wi-Fi 6, we do see a major upgrade on the campus backbone for higher bandwidth. So moving forward, access will be 10G downlink, server will be 10G, 25G, and 100G will be the norm for campus networking and data center networking. 40G, most likely people will skip that. And bear in mind, 400G is coming. The standard has been matured, okay? And on the backbone side, I don't want to go into detail. Continue upgrade the bandwidth. 400G per lambda, 400G, 600G per lambda is coming. And on the IP routing side, because of 5G, 50G is coming, FAXI is coming. And on the carrier last mile access, there are different technology developed. The general idea is to make 1G per user possible. So this is the overall direction we can see on networking. And then Mr. Yan also talked about cloud computing and so-called IaaS, which is a technology used to manage all the resources I just talked about. And this is interesting. I mean, so-called cloud computing has been in the market. People talk about it almost 10 years. A lot of customers moved to cloud already. But this is interesting to see. There's still no, the market is still not able to reach a consensus what should be the right direction to go. There's still a lot of problems. People still have a lot of questions. At the high end, we do see two different types of customers. Public cloud-centric, they are customers that are public cloud centric. They try to move most of as long as they can, move the application to public cloud. But we also see customers that are private cloud centric. But no matter public cloud or private cloud, there's still a lot of customers. For example, like if they go for public cloud, how to handle the on-premises requirement. If you go for public cloud, how they handle how can they handle the VMware coexistence, all that. Okay, and from the solution or service provider's perspective, we can also see two tracks: the cloud-centric track and also the customer-centric track. There are major differences between the two, but Huawei as a company, we understand the differences. We respect customer may have two different choices. So what we do is that Huawei Cloud is actually the technology that we develop. We will continue to strengthen the solution offering and also the coverage through ourselves and also partnership. XGS Online is the solution to help the customer who want to put the data and applications on premises, but operate the infrastructure operated by Huawei. For those people who are private cloud centric, so XGS, you can consider that as a superset of XGS Online. So this is actually the platform you can use and everything by yourself. Okay, this is actually an interesting concept. The people in the public cloud finally go for the so-called buy model. When we start the private cloud journey, people thought that probably use the private cloud technology to manage everything, including the legacy. It turned out it's the wrong direction. Now people finally reach the consensus that people learn from the mainframe experience and go for the buy model. So there will be private cloud resource. And instead of using the private cloud to manage everything, people gradually move the workload to the private cloud resource. This is what we call the buy model. And XGS is a platform for that. And more than that, XGS is also the technology that we can do the edge integration. We understand that there are also customers using different type of virtualization technology. So XGS is also extend. This is what we call the multi-CMP extension. We do hybrid cloud on our Huawei cloud. We also do multi-cloud on other people's public cloud. And the next step is what we call the cloud federation, to make the different clouds working more effectively. So this is the overall direction we are driving on the cloud, no matter private, public, or hybrid. We keep on talking about XGS. Don't worry, I won't go into detail because it takes 2 hours to finish every single component. But this is actually a demonstration to tell you how serious we are in terms of cloud technology. Platform as a service is also a hot topic. And this is actually the assessment we made ourselves in terms of platform as a service development. What you can expect is that multi-vendor PaaS and IaaS, PaaS mature. That means you have one vendor PaaS and other vendors infrastructure as a service. Most likely it works. This is mature. But multi-vendor PaaS itself seems very challenging. As a matter of fact, today, don't expect that. Public cloud PaaS is more mature than the private cloud PaaS. The reason for that is actually because public cloud PaaS, they do not care about multi-vendor. You just ask the customer to follow you. There are different layers on public PaaS. Docker, very mature. We do have a lot of large-scale Docker implementation. But microservice is a bit tricky in the sense that the technology itself is still very dynamic. People keep on coming up with new idea to build a platform. But more importantly, develop microservice-based application require totally mindset and skill set change on application development. So it will be a very high, the skill set demand on your existing organization. So moving, especially talking about moving the legacy apps to to go for microservice. So probably you need to be a little bit conservative on that. And middleware, again, depends. There are certain middleware, like the message bus, all that, pretty mature. But multi-vendor seems very challenging. So overall speaking, we are moving to this track as well, and then our existing, our own platform using it. And Fusion Stage is actually the platform we developed to address the past requirement. Data analytics is also a major component. This is actually the workshop of the what we call the data life cycle in a real project that we have done. So it looks very complicated, but it's actually very typical. So they are transaction, OLTP transaction data for the mainframe, but they're also unstructured or semi-structured data for the web. And all this data are loaded into the data analytic platform, and there are two different types of platform. One is based on big data, another one based on structured database. This is what we call the data warehouse. And there are more than 50 data marks to form the structured data analytics mechanism. Overall speaking, in this area, we do see data lake concept very hot, but the technology to do it is still not mature enough, still very dynamic. Big data is not a problem. Big data with Hadoop is not a rocket science. It's not a rocket science. There are a number of successful implementations. The major challenge is actually customization and vendor appliance. I think the major progress in terms of database is that the structured, scale-out structured database become mature, and the so-called MPBB technology. Then people start using it to replace the proprietary Exadata and Teradata. We do see people using it, in this particular case, using it to consolidate the data mart and data warehouse to make it big for performance reason. And the next step is go for multi-site MPBDB. Converged data, so-called converged data warehouse is also a hot topic. And the overall concept is go for MPBB, big data federation. Another direction we do see in the database market is people start to look for a platform that can do both OLAP and OLTP at the same time for those new applications that require analysis and real-time transaction. So what Huawei's strategy is to come up with a database. Fusion Insight is actually the platform for Hadoop Spark. GutsDB 200 is actually for MPBDB OLAP, and GutsDB 300 is for both OLTP and what we call the hybrid model. And there are a number of successful cases. One of the biggest successful cases we have is ICBC, the biggest bank in China. As a matter of fact, today they already have 4 clusters deployed for big data, and the biggest cluster is actually over 500 looks and also 1 petabyte. For the GutsDB, we have 8 database implement MPBDB, replacing Exadata, and the biggest one is actually talking about over 200 looks and 600 terabytes. So it's a big implementation. IoT is also another major component, and so the so-called IoT hub, and which is a component as a platform as a service, and designed for IoT. The major attention is for device management and large-scale device management and connectivity management. And it used together with the data analytics and also the other platform as a service. And this can run on infrastructure as a service, and we can run on public cloud or private cloud. And usually, the area in this, in the IoT hub, there be quite a lot of cooperation between the hub, the software, and the edge device. So this is one of the typical examples. You can see here without security, talking about the battery can go for 10 years, but have the security implements, if we go for the security features implemented, the battery go down to 3.5 years. But with a special protocol design, it go for almost 10 years again. So it requires quite a lot of cooperation between the edge and the hub. Ocean Connect is actually the platform that we developed, and we do have a number of cases. One of the most notable cases is actually the one that we go with VHL. I don't have time to go into detail, but you can always ask for more information. So the overall approach, as what Mr. Yanida said, you cannot go. We understand that the digital platform is complicated. We need to understand the end-to. We should have an end-to-end view, but we also go for a modular platform. Pick the component you feel comfortable to go for. So in the stack, we do have all different technology solutions for resource layer. Huawei Cloud is a platform for public, hybrid, and private. We do have Fusion Stage for the PAS. We have the Fusion Insight and GasDB for the data analytics. We have Ocean Connect used as an IoT hub. Moving up is basically ISP partnership. And in the platform itself is Huawei Insight. This is actually the overall strategy we are doing. We do have end-to-end view, but we have a flexible approach. You can pick the component you feel comfortable to start with. This is what we call end-to-end view with modular approach. Finally, this is understanding. Digital platform is an indispensable engine for digital transformation. It's all talking about the cost synergy between cloud, network, and edge, which is basically adhering to the architecture we defined 10 years ago, the so-called cloud pipe device architecture. We go for the Huawei Insight approach. We have all the technology and solutions in all different layers. We do have an end-to-end architecture, but modular approach. So for future-proof and flexibility, this is a truly open architecture, so to avoid vendor lock. We have extensive partnership ecosystem, so you can work, to address a different vertical business needs. And we do have a very flexible engagement model. So before I end of my presentation, so we are happy to inform you that there's a digital platform white paper that we prepared together with IDC. It will be available. You can always download it. And with that, this end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I know I've been over one.
Not a problem. Thank you, WK, CTO of the Marketing and Product Solution Sales Department of the Huawei Enterprise Business Group. So if you like Formula One, you are in Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the cities that actually has a Formula One racetrack, which means digital transformation for industries is booming at Formula One speed. It doesn't get faster than Formula One, except if you circle in an oval, but that's not what we do in Formula One. So, who is still happy? Happier than in Dubai? Here we go. Yeah, it's okay. It's not there yet. But okay, we try and make you more happy than you already are. Because we're going on a journey, a digital journey. We go from Austria and Germany to Singapore, but right now we're going to Italy. Because digital transformation for industries is being driven not so much by a car, but of course by people, by pioneers. And the next speaker, I speak a very little Italian, and I so wish that I could pronounce this gentleman's department in Italian. In English, it already sounds beautiful, I can tell you. So I'm not going to try it in Italian. I'm going to try it in English, of course. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. Imagine this in Italian. The Cabinet of the Planning, Budget, Credit and Land Planning Department of the Regione Sardegna of Italy. How does that sound in Italian? Mr. Massimo Carboni. Prego.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will not tell you in Italian. That would be so good for you. Anyway, I will start my presentation starting from what we said that our topic is digital transformation for industry. So what I'm doing here, I represent a local government. I'm not industry. So I said to myself, well, who are the actors of the industries? Are citizens, are industries, are people. And where do they live? They live in cities, they live in regions, they live in nations. So that's why it's important to, starting from a citizen, starting from a city, starting from a region, and try to see how our technology transfer can really involve our cities and our citizens' life. Doing this, I want to start with a video. It's a video about a city. It's a video about my city, which is Cagliari. It's a simple video that really shows what citizens need, what's really people's life. So there is nothing exist, nothing extravagant. It's just a normal video about people's cities' life. And then we see how we try to reply to the people's needs. Let's see the video. right. As you saw, people is doing video what we do every day. We go running, we go working, we take a car, we do bicycle. So what we have done in Sardinia with a vision of a smart city and a smart region to think what people really need. What people really need is being by a really algorithmic system starting the open innovation partnership. So the first thing that we thought is to create an open collaboration approach between private sectors and local community. So the first thing I want to say, when Huawei came the first time to Sardinia showing this is what we have, so all the slides we saw before, we asked ourselves, what are we going to do with all these things? And we said, let's ask people, let's ask community what they want, what they are, what they need. This is for us our public and private partnership for smart cities. The other thing is what are our idea for our cities. What is our program? Literally change our cities manage. So we have to have clarify the idea of our cities. Then we thought that we have artificial intelligence. Our brain cannot really process all the data we have. So we have to ask in help, giving help to process all the data. Machines have started to not only understand data, but structure and unstructured, but also reason with and learn, formulate hypotheses, opinion, and learn how to interact with humans. So the point is, what happens next? We have machine and we have humans. What are we going to do? We still working together. We have machine that is still and locate knowledge, identify partners, learn from other machine, eliminate bias, and so on. But humans are still the center point. Citizen, those are the point. Express common sense of ethic, values, imagination, compassion, and in just one word, they dream. So our dream. What is our dream? What's happening next? Is giving citizen and urban innovation discussion. All in one, if we put private and private collaboration, if we believe interaction with human machine and our human dream, if we open our city to the idea of digital transformation, if we do all these things, our dream starts to become true. So, our focus in all this process is improve people's quality. This is our focus. This is our starting point. There is nothing to do without them, only with people's quality. Doing this, we thought as master plan for a smart city and a smart region. And we thought, what we need, we get all this level of programming, planning. The first one is a quality of public administration. Public administration, government, is it local or central, must have a really clarified idea of the wants. A vision of a local community, a vision of a smart city, a vision of a smart region. So the first point is make sure the government level, central or peripheral, have a vision of what they want. The second one is the competencies. Without competence, we don't go anywhere. So human capital and the important roles given by university and research center. We have to work with this level. The third level is have an active local community. We have to involve society and economy in this long process that brings to smart city and smart region. And then the last one, you cannot go anywhere if you don't have a really strong international player who gives you technology. In this case, for Sardinia, as you believe, is Huawei. So that's why we are here. So this is the Sardinia model for a smart city and a smart region. As you see, it's a very single a simple model. We have the hardware, we have the software. The hardware is the platform, is the machine. Then we have the software. The software are the vertical traction of the needs of the citizen, what the people needs. And then between them we have the technology. We can have a very old technology, a very smart technology, but the technology is just a way to get and to resolve problems for individuals. This is the very important point, and this is our dream, and this is what we have done in Sardinia Island. This is to show what's happened in Sardinia. As you see, is an IOC model, is the one we showed you before in the previous speakers. But the important things here is that this platform, this IOC, has been made starting from a bottom-up process, starting from the cities, starting from the local community, where they told us where were the really needs they wanted for our city. So, as you see, we have like a standard IOC platform. We have widgets, we have information, event list, we have video surveillance, but then we have here overall overview and all the vertical traction we discussed before. So every single city, every single region have to think the needs and the solution, they will have to talk to that. Those one are the solution that the city of Cagliari decide were important for them, and this one, the one we decide to work. So, as you see, we can have this is a general overview. We go the camera workings, the traffic station, the parking, and then we go the list events. We go somewhere here, something is happening. We go urban traffic, and this is a street very congested traffic, so they give you the information to take another way and so on. So the important thing is not the platform itself. This is extravagant because it takes information and data for every single traffic light, every single bus, every single camera, every single sensor, and put it together. This is okay, but this is not enough for us. What we want is to serve those data to give services to citizens. This is our main objective. So it's not only to collect data, but it's also to interact data from each other. Another thing that can be important if we go now to the overall view, to the tourist information, if we go a cruise coming to Sardinia, the restaurants near in the city must know that this cruise is coming, so they have to work for solving a problem and saying that they have to buy more food or serve more people. Another one, this is something like concentration in urban. A lot of people is working in here, and so on. So I just skip the presentation that is going to work here. Very quickly, this is an example of what we have done in Cagliari. This is, we work with the citizens, we worked with the local government, and they decide this history was the main objective that they want to work. So we focus on that, we write all the design model I was discussing before in the previous slides, and then we have to think, work to the approach in a 5 years plan. So we started for the previous plan, we work in the first 5 years plan, and then after every 5 years we have to review the plan to see what is happened, what is changed, what are the really needs, what they want. And then this is the cross of the process. And the last thing, the last slide is like the model how the city government work with all the departments, and then all the departments that reply to the needs of the citizen. So this is the implementation roadmap, and this is our slide. Just before finish, I want to say again, the important thing is technology is perfect, it's good, but then we have to say, what are we going to do with all this technology? This is the point. The only thing, the only reach is we can use technology to solve problem of citizens. This is the point. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Massimo Carboni from the Regione Sardinia. We should go there, don't you think? We're here in Barcelona at the end of the week before going back to the office on Monday. Maybe we on Friday or Saturday we can meet somewhere in Sardinia and have this overview of all of things. The next speaker is going to touch a bit about how all these different information silos, when they bring services together, also enforce elements like a transaction. The world of banking, the world of finance, and the world of insurance and assurance do not stop and does not stop when they receive your money from your bank account and they save it for you, or when they reinvest that money to create more value. The transaction in digital transformation also comes forth in the back-end services. If you're in Sardinia, if you're anywhere in the world and you're making use of services, then digital transformation also allows us in the back-end for logistics how a transaction for taxation or VAT could take place, how the information and the value exchange, which is a core element of how blockchain actually started. It is a database structure for a secure and safe transaction of value versus information. The world of banking is making a huge transformation. Maybe horizontally thinking, the digital foundation that we talk about is perhaps also a financial foundation. Our next speaker is from Singapore. So from Italy, we go to Singapore. It's my honor to present Mr. Lim, who is from the DBS Bank, who is the group head of the consumer banking and wealth management of the DBS Bank in Singapore. Mr. Lim.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Huawei for this very kind invite, for me to speak today. I was first asked to speak about digital disruption in the finance industry, and I felt that the title was a bit too heavy for me, and I thought I would share with you what's happening in DBS Bank and our digital transformation journey. DBS Bank stands for Development Bank of Singapore, and although we started as a development bank, we are 100% a commercial bank today. So let me just take maybe 1 minute to introduce my company. We are a leading bank in Asia. We're the largest bank in Southeast Asia and ASEAN. We are rated AA-, and we have won the best digital bank in the world in 2018 and 2016. In between 2016 and 2018, Citibank took the title, but we took it back from them last year. We have 26,000 people. We are about $400 billion in asset, and we have a strong capital base. We have 8.8 million customers and 200,000 institutional corporate clients. So in the scheme of things, compared to the other big banks, we are probably a mid-sized bank. I think the last 10 years has really been the rise of the Asian banks, especially the Chinese banks. In 2009, when you have the Asian crisis, people cannot imagine that some of the top American names or the European names could actually go under without the government coming in. So the last 10 years has been a very crucial tipping point for the Asian banks. What I want to do today is really to talk about the digital transformation journey in our bank. I will speak in 3 sections on why we need to transform. I think that's quite straightforward to many of you in this industry. I'll spend more time on how we are transforming ourselves, what are the initiatives that we have taken to do things differently, and what have been the outcome from what we have done. So we'll talk about the disruptions, the way we reimagine banking, and the outcomes that we have. I wanted to show this slide because I want to talk about the industrial revolutions. And if you look at the first, second, and third, it was historian that looked at a certain period and said that, in 1784, the first industrial revolution started. Then there was historian that looked back at 1870, and then again in 1969 to say this was the first, second, and third. But now economists are saying that we are in the midst of our fourth industrial revolution. So I think it's very significant that we know what's happening now as it's happening. And if you look at the commonality in the industrial revolution, it's always automation and connectivity. And I think the fourth industrial revolution have taken automation and connectivity to really exponential change. If we have to pick one word that describe the last 25 years, I think we pick the word digitization. If we have to pick one word or one phrase to describe the next 25 years, I think that phrase would be artificial intelligence and big data. We started looking at what we think are disrupting the world that we know today, especially in our industry. Cloud computing has been talked about by the earlier speakers. And cloud computing has made possible for the fintech to attack our industry or in the banking industry. You don't need the big infrastructure that a bank needs before they start being a bank. Cloud computing has made it very possible for small players to fight big players. In a way, I describe it like, it's the guerrilla fighting the army. If you're good at payments, you hit the bank in payments. You're good at FX, you hit the banks in FX. You're good at a certain particular area, you just need to be able to, take on the bank in the area that you are good at. Mobile, the ubiquity of the mobile phone, I think one of the greatest invention in modern history is the smartphone. I mean, if you look at the Huawei phone today that we have, it's probably a few million times more powerful than what NASA had when they landed Apollo 11 on the moon. When you look at it in that light, you can see the computing power that's being put on our fingertips today. So I think that the ubiquity of the mobile phone is one of the greatest invention in history in present day. In terms of connectivity, we're talking about the connected economy. And if you look back in the old days, if you have the product, you're the king because you have the product to sell, and then product became commoditized. Then when you have the customers, you're the king because the product needs to be sold to the customers. But today, the new model is that if you have the platform and you can connect the buyers and the sellers, you don't need to have the product or the customers. You have the platform that bring them together, you are king. AI, artificial intelligence, and big data have to speak, you've got to speak together as one, because data is, if it's only data, it's not good. Data has to be translated into information. Information has to be translated into knowledge. Knowledge has to be translated into wisdom. And once you have wisdom, you have insights. And how good your data is, is the ability to transform it into wisdom, and AI does that for you. So once you have that, you will have you have wisdom and you can act on it. Now, some of you might play the Chinese game of Go. I don't know if you read this, when AlphaGo beat Lee Sudo, who was an 18-time world champion as a Go player. I think that's a tipping point in artificial intelligence, because Go is a very simple game and it's very intuitive. And when they had the competition, a lot of the commentators were saying that it would take another 10 years before AlphaGo can beat the world champion. Well, guess what? 10 years came yesterday, and AlphaGo won 4-1. So I think the significance of artificial intelligence and where it has accelerated to is something that we cannot take for granted. The world around us is changing. In the banking industry, I used to joke that in banks, we make life difficult for our officers so that they can make life difficult for our customers. How difficult and boring and sometimes unpleasant, a journey to the bank can be. And the fintech has taught us that we need to change, because if we don't change, we will be finished. You can consider them a threat, but by the fact that they are in this business and they have come into the banking industry, it's actually the best thing that has happened to our industry, because it has forced us to rethink a lot of things. It has forced us to reinvent ourselves, and it has forced us to reinvent sort of our customers' journey. So in 2013, the DBS Board of Directors, had a very in our meeting, we decided that, we took the view that for the future of ourselves and our industry, we have to lead. If we didn't lead the change, frankly, we might die. And a lot of people ask, is that such a dire situation? And the answer was that it's not a question of that it's a dire situation. It was really that simple, that either we innovate or the industry will be finished. I think Bill Gates many years ago said that we don't need banks, we need banking. And if we don't change, it'll be history for us. So in DBS, we decided to reimagine the way we would do things, and that we talked about it in really 5 different segments. One is to acquire. We call it ATE, acquire, transact, and engage. We want to acquire customers, and we want to acquire them at lower cost. We want to transact. We want to eliminate papers. We want to create instant fulfillment, and we want to decrease our costs, and we want to engage. And the more the customers engage with us, the more digital they go with us, we realize that they become more profitable. And then we want to use the ecosystem to expand ourselves. Now, in Singapore, we are the largest bank in the country, so we can create the ecosystem that we want. But in many countries, we are not so well known, and because of that, we have to participate in somebody else's ecosystem. So depending on our position in the different markets, we either create, we participate, and in some markets that we are quite competitive, we can orchestrate the ecosystem. And then data, I've spoken about data earlier. We told ourselves that we need to do 3 things. The first is to become digital to the core. The second was to make ourselves DBS invisible. And that means we want to embed ourselves in the customer's journey. And the last is to really create a startup culture. Again, banks tend to be very hierarchical. We tend to have our systems. We have a lot of legacies. We do things the same way. But we don't reinvent. You can't transform a company without transforming a culture. So these were sort of the 3 main goals that we set ourselves out to do. So we decided on becoming digital to the core. Many companies who put on the digital lipsticks, and then they have some form of website, and it's really front end. We studied how big technology sort of reinvent themselves and use technology. And the things that we have learned is that the technologies were hard to shift, the legacy systems were difficult, and when you do the transformation, you need to build a lot of tools along the way. So when we came up with the list of elements that needs to be done, we have to move from legacy, monolithic, mainframe to microservice and cloud. We have to go from waterfall delivery to sort of practicing agile at a large scale. We have essentially thought about how to engineer the technology and how to build for the modern system that are scalable, elastic, and made for experimentation. We decided to push the envelope on cloud. Most banks or most companies, most banks actually consolidate their data and they do some cloud. In DBS, we have really scaled down our physical presence, and we have gone onto the cloud. By 2020, we hope to take our cloud up to about 90% of where we are today. In 2018, we were at probably 82%. So our belief is that, going on to cloud optimized or cloud native would really let us experiment things faster, bring products to the customers much faster. I think in the earlier slide by the first speaker, I was quite surprised that Huawei too have legacy systems. I always thought only banks have it. And actually, the scale of time for you all to deliver what you deliver today, your revenue has gone from 60 billion to 109 billion, and your headcount has almost stayed flat at 180,000 people. So I think, again, like I said, we can learn from the tech company to see how we can scale ourselves. We have the largest API because, we have learned that we can't do everything ourselves. We have to embed our partners. We have the application program interface so that we can leverage what they have. And to be honest, there are times, in fact, there are many, many times that they do better in what they do than us bank trying to do it. So this way, by connecting it, we leverage the skills that they have. Let me give you 1 or 2 examples of some of the things that we did. Okay, my slide is not moving. Okay, wait. Nope, this this is going backwards. Okay, this is a bank that we created in India. We call it DG Bank India. What we have done is that we have put an entire bank onto the mobile phone. You can open your banking account within 90 seconds, okay? And we have decided, we went to leverage the government Aadhaar electronic KYC system, and you can actually have your biometrics authentication in 550 cafes around the country. So this is an example whereby we reinvented banking. You don't have to come to the branch. We use the government identity or the electronic identity that they have, to reinvent the way we bank. If you go to India, sometimes to open an account, you've got to take half a day to spend your time waiting and filling out the forms. But with this, you actually do it in 90 seconds. So it's a completely different experience for the Indians people. The second part really is from product focus to customers centric. I know this is very cliche, but you'll be surprised at how banks normally used to just push products. We believe that we have to embed ourselves into the customer's life, into their journey. And with that, there are a lot of things that we do that may not seem as if we are doing banking, but by being a part of their life in the everyday life, they will use us more and more. And data has shown that they become more profitable customers. We look at the entire ecosystem or the cycle of the consumer, from, let's say, birth, cradle to grave. And we look at some of the key events that they go through: their education, their home, their wedding, when they buy their cars, when they have kids, their pension. So those are one-time events that happen to you throughout your life. On the left-hand side, we have, what you do every day, with a bank, your payments, your entertainment, your travel, and the key for us is to embed our payments into all these verticals so that they bank with us without realizing that we are so much a part of our life. And this is what we mean by making banking invisible. In fact, the new tagline that we have for the bank is live more, bank less. The customer's journey thinking that we took was really to discover, define, develop, and deliver. So we gather and synthesize the insights, and the inspiration. We redefine the opportunities, we experiment to test the assumptions, and we implement the concept. A lot of times, in banking, when we have a discussion, we don't try to say this is what we think. We always ask, what does the data show us? And we're trying to force the discipline that everything that we do, the decisions that we make, has to be sort of data supported. It's not what we think or our own inference. So this is another discipline, and this is how we're transforming the bank. Okay, this is another example whereby the statement that we had was that we wanted to eliminate the use of cash, and we started sort of what we call a smart buddy, which is really a watch that students wear, and the parents can transfer their daily allowance into the watch, and using the watch you can tap and pay for what you buy at the cafeteria or at the canteen. Then the parents will get the data on what their children spend their money on their allowance on. Are they eating junk food, or are they eating good food? And then it also let them sort of embed in the ecosystem whereby when they go on the bus, when they tap to pay for the bus fare, the parents know that they have boarded the bus. So the concept really was to say that we want to eliminate cash, and we look at the transaction journey and the customer's journey and kind of reinvent, the way we do this. Now, at first hand, we might say that there's no money to be made here, but the point here is that if we are part of the customer's life in their everyday life, there'll be opportunities to do a lot of other things because we get so much data and insight into it. The last part really is to strengthen our people and our culture. You cannot transform a company without transforming the culture. The dinosaur that we have there is really the logo that we use for our DG Bank in India. We are 26,000 in the bank, and one of the things that we have been trying to do to say that, what is it like to be like a startup? The way the startup have, rather than being sort of a big corporate, one, we realize the startup is very customer obsessed. They are data driven, as mentioned earlier. What does the data tell us? they take risks and experiment. You know, a lot of times big corporates, you know, they dare not take risks and experiment, you know, because they're afraid of failure. We need to be agile. You know, there's one thing that we learn. You're not too big because you're a $1 trillion company. You're too big the day you lose your agility to respond to your customers. You're too big when you have 20 people taking responsibility and no one taking accountability. And the last is that we have to be a continuous learning organization. With, you know, with these 5 principles, we think that we can transform the company from being big corporate to being a little bit more agile to work like a startup. So this is really some examples of our customer service, how we power the future through our instrumentation. You know, we can see, you know, the customers' profitability, their satisfaction. You know, we look at our campaign optimization, we look at the workforce, and then we have real-time insights, and that really gives us a tremendous competitive advantage. Another example that our human resource use is that from the raw data, we can, with an 85% confidence of accuracy, predict when the staff will be leaving us within the next 6 months. So these are some of the things that we are trying out that has come to fruition. Huawei is an important partner for DBS in our transformation journey. You know, we use them. You know, we started with the deployment of Huawei network and desktop VDI technology. You know, and you know, we are now looking at the high-end CCTV technology in our new in our new cloud data center. You know, for better data center and surveillance. So Huawei is definitely someone that we have been engaging to do more. The last part really is quite straightforward and quite simple. I talk about the outcomes that we have. So we have transformed the front end, and these are all the different apps that we have that we deal with our customers. You know, and on the back end, we have re-architected the back end. Now, I'll be the first to say that the journey has continued, but it's far from finished. You know, when Euromoney awarded us the best bank in the world, their comment was that, you know, digital innovation pervades every part of DBS, from consumer to corporate, from small, medium enterprises to transaction banking, and even the DBS Foundation. So with that, I really conclude my presentation for today. You know, I think, are the first mid-sized Asian bank to be awarded Best Bank in the World by Global Finance, which, you know, we are quite proud of. You know, we were Best Digital Bank, and then we have the Best SME Bank. You know, so hopefully as a result of the transformation that we have done the last 6 years, you know, we have come to where we are today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope I've been able to share some of my experience or my bank's experience with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim of DBS in Singapore. We continue our journey. Our journey is like a vehicle. We learned earlier what is the pieces of the engine that is under the hood. What are the core components? Cloud. Cloud is a core component. If you are late for a business meeting because of rain, what do you blame? Do you blame the rain or do you blame the cloud? If you want to reach for the sky, you have to go above and beyond the cloud. And what best way to do that is to do that with an airline. The next speaker is part of the pioneers that has really transformed the physical world of airlines to the digital world of airlines. From Turkish Airlines, please welcome to the stage Mr. Ali Sedar Yakut, who's going to explain exactly how that works.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Huawei for inviting me here. Barcelona is a very, very special city for me. I love being here, but for the sake of the forthcoming speakers and for the sake of your afternoon, I will keep everything very short, very brief, because we already have got the end of the committed time is over. So I will keep it very short. In 5 minutes, I will tell you about everything. So that next speakers will have audience. I already see that half of the audience is already gone. So stay here, please. We come from faraway countries to tell you something. Thank you. So, I will tell you about Turkish Airlines and its journey, how we came to where we are, and how digital really made an effect on it. First of all, we are Turkish flag carrier, and we were formed in Istanbul in 1933. So this makes us one of the oldest still active carriers of the world, and we are building this legacy. And after 2003, we have changed everything. We believe that we are a special company because we have got really very important differentiators for us. The number of destinations that we are flying, our location, we are 3 hours away from more than 50 countries in the world. So Napoleon once said that if there will be one, if the whole world will be one country, Istanbul will be the capital of it. So it really is. And our culture, Istanbul has been the center of the culture for many years. The East Roman Empire, Byzantines, Ottoman Empire, and they all put something in our veins, and our culture and hospitality is helping us a lot with our business. So this is how I will just pass these numbers. We are flying to more than any other, we are flying to more countries than any other airline in the world. We are flying to 124 countries. We are the first in this area. We are flying to 258 international destinations. We are the first in this area. And we are flying to, including the domestic points, we are flying to more than 300 points, which is the fourth in the area. Of course, here, China and the US carriers, which to have domestic number of points is the leaders. And here you see the development. Although we were formed in 1933, until 2003, we were one of the average or below average carriers. And we had a nickname. THY is our, how we call it. And THY has been spelled as they hate you. And after that, after 2003, we have started to change our vision. And we have started to move on with the capacities that we already have. We changed our vision, and now, as you see, number of landings, number of destinations, number of passengers. These are all growing, like Huawei itself, 3 digits every year. We are the fastest growing airline in the world. So, after all these changes, after this great vision, what lies ahead, what lies beneath? Of course, also the changes in the technology and changes in how we manage our work comes. Now, here are the numbers. Although we are not a technology company, I work with more than 800 developers. I have more than 800 engineers in my company. So we are putting a lot of effort and a lot of vision on technology and digitalization. We are an R&D center that was given to us in 2016 by our government. We have got more than 400 corporate apps. By apps, I do not mean business apps, mobile apps. These are huge optimization or huge management programs. More than 300 750 servers. So there is a huge technology that lies beneath this growth. Travel industry is changing, and we need to be the leaders in this change. We do not have to be the followers. So, from commodity thinking to differentiation, this is the same for all industries. Product-driven to customer-driven, so personalization should be there, and we need to learn about our customers. And automation should be to the top. We should be leading to innovation, and we should collaborate with our partners, even with our competitors. These are the visions that we put when I came to action in 2013, and we are working on them. Airline industry, when you look at the airline industry, it is one of the oldest. When you talk about IT and how it's changed, how it's developed, airline companies are the pioneers in the IT development. Because you are having a huge operation, and without automation and without optimization, you cannot profit in this business. The margins in the business is, although the numbers are very high, the margin is very low. So you need to be very optimal about how you do your business. So for each of these, which will not be very familiar with you, but these are our core business dynamics: reservation and booking systems, revenue accounting, in-flight revenue management. These are all core business applications that you need to focus on. But if you only focus on this, you have no chance to grow. You have no chance to be the leaders of this very competitive industry. So we are focusing not only on those. We are focusing on, of course, like every of my colleagues here told, big data, mobile, connected devices, AI, personalization, conversational interfaces, and as a whole digital. These have been the focus points of all the things that we have been doing for the last 5 years. And we have gone a lot of way on that. And I have seen the digital, Huawei's digital platform, and we do not use your platform yet, but we can talk about it. There might be some, especially in IoT and connected devices, we might have some use cases on that. Good to hear that. And of course, I will pass this. This is a standard. It's 7 minutes already. Of course, other than those 800 people, in order for you to lead the digital change in such a competitive environment, we are working with a lot of players in the ecosystem. We are part of Plug and Play. Maybe you know Plug and Play, which is one of the accelerators, largest accelerators, startup accelerators in the world. Starters Hub is also, we do partnership with them. We are trying to get the insights from the open and fresh minds as much as possible. Because in order for you to change the business, you have to think out of the box. This was the first thing that I wanted to do, and hopefully I managed it, to be one of the leaders of the ecosystem in all over the world to change the business, because this business needs changing. It is very conservative at some points, and you need to add the technologies, fruits to this already smelling food. I will pass this. So you saw the numbers. We are growing very, very fast, and we have grown about 20 times or 30 times in the last 20 years, but we will not stop growing. So for that reason, we have built the largest airport in Istanbul this year. And this airport, let me tell you one thing, the overall region that it's covering is 2/3 of the whole Barcelona city. Not Barcelona airport. I am talking about Barcelona city. 2/3 of the Barcelona city is our airport. This is how big it is. Here are the numbers. It has got 6 runways, 4 terminals, 76 kilometers square of area, and I believe Barcelona is 170. And it will be able to hold more than 200 million passengers. We had 75 million passengers last year in Istanbul Atatürk Airport. This airport will be able to hold more than 200 million passengers. So our vision is still there, and we will continue to grow. So what is Huawei here? For the new airport, we have collaborated with Huawei. For the network part, for the all campus network, we have worked with Huawei, and when Han asked me if I could come here to present something and could I be a reference, I told him that if you are successful, I will do that. And I came here because I do not always come to vendor speeches. This time I came because it was special. The service that was provided by Huawei was special. The timing was very limited, but how they provided the service was really very special. Thank you again, guys. So all the network infrastructure is by Huawei. Also, after this network infrastructure, I have started desktop and application virtualization POCs with Huawei. Also, all the CCTV and storage at Istanbul airport is Huawei. And other than this, server virtualization. This all started with only one visit, guys. In 2017, I paid a visit to China in Shenzhen. And I saw there how technology is being built by Huawei. So we had nothing at that point in time. And after that, most of our implementations, critical implementations, we are partnering with Huawei. Thank you, Han. Thank you, guys. And that's all. 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Yakut from Turkish Airlines, the fastest growing airline in the world, as he says. I think it's also the fastest presentation that we've seen today, right? It proves that the Turkish Airlines are on a ride across the clouds. So that's where we are. Imagine what this is then doing, right? If all these airports are getting bigger, maybe at one point there will be no airplane up in the air because they can taxi from one airport just to the other airport, because that's how big they are, right? We don't need highways and any other infrastructure. You go into a plane in airport number 1 and you taxi to the other airport. How would that be? Imagine what that does for logistics, online business, digital services. We still order stuff online. A couple of organizations are supporting us. So the digital transformation of logistics services, one of the largest in the world, of course, is from DHL. From Italy to Singapore to Turkey, and now we go to Bonn in Germany. Mr. Xavi Esplugas, who is the Chief Digital Architect of the DHL supply chain, for his keynote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes, buena tarde. It's a real pleasure for me being here in my home city, accepting the invitation of Huawei to talk about the journey that logistics is experiencing thanks to the digital transformation. I'm going to talk today about the power of connectivity and intelligence that somehow drives that digital transformation. DHL and Huawei signed in 2016 a memorandum of understanding in IoT. We said, this is a new technology, we see that transformation coming together, let's partner. What we have seen, moving it forward, is that the traditional supply chains, as we know them, they are very old. Since the time of the ancient Greeks and the times of the Egyptians, we always have been operating supply chains in the very similar manner. We take the goods, we move them, we pass them on to a buffer, we store them, we pick them out one time. And that has been working for thousands of years. But there is something which is disrupting logistics, not because we want, but it's just coming to us. And it's the fact that the customers are raising their expectations. What the customers want today is access to more SKUs, they want smaller orders, and they also are ordering things non-conveyable. People are ordering things on the internet you would not believe. Those things cannot be handled easily as we handled them before. We, of course, want faster output. We want to get things immediately. I just paid now. My money has been taken away. I want to have my goods today, later in the afternoon, tomorrow latest. And that gives us that, of course, we need to drive almost like a constant, non-stopping supply chain with a higher uptimes. So the traditional supply chain that we have been seeing for many, 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 many centuries now turns into something that needs to be improved. The access to robotics is becoming cheaper and cheaper, and here the digital transformation is helping us to achieve that. In order to be sustainable with the growth that the e-commerce is putting on us, we have simply to double our productivity, and we have to decrease our wasted time on traveling distance by 80%. We can ask our people to do that. They are, of course, excelling every day. We would not expect them to just double the work and then decrease the travel distance. The inclusion of robotics is also a must. What happens is that if you give the people the freedom to think about how you can bring technology to their operations, little by little you see our teams working on those innovations. But they are somehow disconnected. You need to put them under one umbrella. You need to bring them under one digital roadmap. And still, that digital roadmap needs some sort of structure. And that structure is what DHL we call the innovation funnel. We start with the research, thinking about, whoa, we could look into this one. We also deploy a proof of concept, and that's what we did with Huawei in the year 2017. We had a specific challenge in one of our operations, just in time, just in sequence, high throughput, and we would see it was difficult for us to keep those trucks coming in, coming out. That kind of research, that kind of proof of concept cannot happen in a nice glass building in the headquarters in Bonn. It has to stay locally. That's where the innovation starts. And as you have identified something locally, and you see, hold on, this is actually pretty interesting, then you have to set up the teams through a pilot, the product, and then the industrialization that then allows you as a company to scale globally. Still, this is not only about bringing technology and gadgets. This is about changing how we run logistics. I have now a 2-minute video, very fast, that outlines DHL's view on how the logistics will look in the future.
We invite you on a journey to discover how DHL is embracing digital. Let's get started. We are entering a new era in human history. After the agricultural and industrial revolutions, we are now in the midst of the digital revolution. Today, artificial intelligence is capable of processing many forms of data. But how did it all begin? Everything started with the Turing test in 1950. 7 years later, the so-called general problem solver led to a first dead end. For the next 10 years, research became a purely scientific affair, but then AI became more and more practical. Finally, Google's machine learning system even defeated the World Go champion. The digital era gives us new tools and capabilities to combine human intuition with machine processing. AI offers the logistics industry the ability to optimize the orchestration of logistic networks to degrees of efficiency that cannot be achieved by human thinking alone. Seeing and understanding the world, managing complexity, and making the best decisions for tomorrow. We are engaging in the next stage of evolution of robotics automation, with developments in all areas of seeing, speaking, and autonomy, leading us to a combination of technology, nature, and humanity. What is important to you in life? A smarter, safer, more productive future gives us more time to pursue our sense of purpose and things that are really important in life.
It is important to stay with your family. It's important to stay closer to the customer. All this IT and artificial intelligence needs to be in the back. As an architect, the very first question is, okay, how are we going to get that done? Because if we are going to start connecting things in isolation, point-to-point, hard-coding interfaces, this simply will not work. It will not work. Artificial intelligence is under the basis that things come into an ecosystem and comes together. And this is where DHL and Huawei, we take that step further, and we are now thinking about that digital platform. It allows us the integration of robotics. It helps us build the data-driven products. It will be the pathway towards the artificial intelligence. It will also have the customer touchpoints, because this is where we want to connect. And of course, it helps enormously our standardization journey. So this is the central point, becoming somehow the mind of an enterprise and the company. The journey is down there. It's definitely going to take quite some time, but it's important also to do some steps. And for the next one, what I have here is a video I will voice over around what we started in Internet of Things. The Narrowband IoT is available to us as a sensor. We have placed those sensors in the dock doors. We establish communication with the driver, and then we can tell the driver where is the dock that they have to go. They have got the map. They can actually drive forward, and as they get onto the gates, the planner sees the input. Overall, this solution has led to very limited investment. So it's not that you have to start super big globally in this case. You start in one project. It gives us that visualization, increases productivity pretty much very fast. And of course, as you forge this solution and you see that this is working in one of your sites, looking at the funnel I mentioned before, then is when you scale and you want to roll out globally. So, I told that we could not stand our warehouses if we are going to be pacing to the rise of e-commerce. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to have the robots operating the systems. We're going to have them moving the things around, connecting them. We're going to have access to the ring scanners. And we can see also that all those digital technologies have to be grounded. And they really are about to be sensing the real world. Of course, we have got items such as when you kind of like interact with your glasses, and we have got here fantastic examples in this conference. The use of drones for surveillance and inside perimeter and inside the warehouse. The users of drones on the outside world, of course, is still subjected and depending on the regulations which are in progress. And last but not least, the contact of the physical world with the sensors on the car part. So a company cannot do this on its own. Everything is about shaping the warehouse of the future together. I'm Xavi Esplugas from DHL. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Xavi Esplugas from DHL. Now, from Germany to Austria. Believe it or not, we are still on a digital transformation, which is a journey. We have gone through the air, and we've done some services via a regular transportation truck. So now it's time to focus on an industry that comes across rather traditional, you would say. Because really, how do you digitally transform a train or a railway track? Well, ÖBB has found a way to do that. So, one of the pioneers in digital transformation, of transforming a conservative, perhaps, or traditional, I should say, industry like a railway into a digital railway services. Mr. Christian Zaagmeister, if I pronounce it correctly, from ÖBB Infrastructure AG, who is the head of railway systems, is going to explain exactly that.
Okay. Thank you very much, and also thank you to Huawei for the opportunity to speak at this very interesting event. So I'm the last speaker who keeps you away from the after-work drink, and I also want to say this time it is not the railway's fault that we are late, so maybe keep this in mind. Yes, I would like, before I go into detail, to tell you a little bit about the key figures of the Austrian railways. So, did you know what we are dealing with? The trains in the ÖBB railway network and the buses, so we also operate a huge fleet of buses, cover the distance from the Earth to the Sun and back each year. This means 149 million kilometers by train and 146 million kilometers by bus. I'm sure that's not so much than like an airline, but for a railway it's still okay. What else could be interesting? With annual investments amounting to around 2.5 billion euro. The Austrian Railways is an important economic factor in Austria, and we are also Europe's most punctual and reliable rail operator. So this means all trains are on time, at least 96% of our trains. The Railway Systems business unit is responsible for different kinds of technologies that are necessary to run a train from A to B. And I would like to talk a little bit about this because I brought some use cases with me, and I think that's important to understand how we trying to integrate the different systems. So that the Railway Systems business unit ensures mobility through the use of 100% renewable energy. How is this possible? Because we run 10 hydroelectric power plants. We have solar power plants which produce railway-specific energy, because the railway in Austria is using 16.7 hertz, not like it is used in the public networks. We are responsible for signaling systems like the so-called European Train Control System Level 2. This system uses mobile communication technology to send critical information from the infrastructure to the trains. We are responsible for 70,000 kilometers of telecom cable, 25,000 railway signals, 16,000 network elements in our data network, and also very sophisticated facilities to protect against cyber attacks. But not only this, also our customers at the railway stations, they want to be informed. They want to know if their train is on time or if there is any special information that could be interesting. So our dispatchers, they are trained to deal with different kinds of situations, but they also need technical support. They need communication and surveillance technology, and this is an area where we work together with Huawei and where we have a very good cooperation. So I would like to tell a little bit about the business strategy regarding digitalization from the ÖBB group perspective, and then the use cases will focus a little bit more on the infrastructure part. But first, we have to ask the question, what's digitalization all about? Because everybody is talking about digitalization, but we have especially to inform our employees what is it good for. And for the management is the most important question, how much cost can we save by investing in a digital project, digital initiatives? First, it is important that the railway system, of course, is not a closed system, so there are many influences and impacts from the external market environment. It's also, the railways are always very close to politics, and this is also not so easy if you talk about innovation, because railways are public funded, and we have to tell the people why would we take money to start digital projects, even if we do not know at the beginning if there is a really cost benefit afterwards. So we told our employees digitalization is necessary, of course, but it's not only about technology, it's in the first place about cultural change, and it's about our procedures, our processes. And therefore, we try to focus on 5 bullet points. It's technology, it's our core processes, it's the business culture, products and services, and of course our business models. And if we take this into account, then we are sure that we bring our customers and partners closer to our connected employees, and this will be a big benefit for the whole railway business. If you now take a deeper look to our core business, I told you our core business is to transport people and goods, but digitalization is also, let's say, a challenge for our core business because there are new competitors. There are long-distance buses, car-sharing platforms, even self-driving cars in the future. And the biggest advantage, if you travel by train, you have a lot of free time. You can sit in the train, you can work, you can use the time for whatever you want. But if you have in the future a self-driving car, we have to ask the questions from a railway perspective, are we really prepared for the next step? I think we are in a good position and we have to use the potential to grow, to deliver new services and new products. For example, we started a new service just a few months ago where our customers can use our business cars. We had implemented a car-sharing platform, a digital car-sharing platform, where you can, as a customer of the Austrian Railways, rent a ÖBB car, and you can directly go from the train to the parking station and take a car and use also ÖBB service for the last mile of your travel. But there is also new business we have to think about, and big companies and traditional companies are not always as flexible as needed to be very fast innovating and to bring completely new business models on the market. So our strategy is here to work together with strategic partners and also to outsource businesses whenever needed and whenever this makes sense for us. But in the end, taking into account that we have to secure our core business, use the growth potential, and really think about new businesses, it's always about our employees, it's about the capabilities, and of course about the procedures and processes we are implementing. The customer is in the focus, and everything we do for the customer. That's our mantra, and based on that, we defined our digital transformation strategy with 3 core elements called Simplify, Connect, and Act. And everything we do has to be connected to these 3 definitions. The railway business, also because of regulational issues, is often separated in the infrastructure manager and in the train operators. What we have defined is 5 fields of action. They are called connected traveler, connected logistics, connected operations, connected assets, and connected company. And every field of action has a specific goal. And every project we start, every initiative we start, has to bring some added value to these specific goals. For connected traveler and connected logistics, of course, it's easy. We want to increase the B2C client satisfaction and the B2B client satisfaction. And of course, we have to simplify the access to the rail system. If you imagine running a train from, don't know, the Netherlands to Italy via Germany, Austria, and so on, this is really tough because you have different operational rules, you have different technologies in service, different signaling systems, and digitalization brings a very good chance now to simplify the access, and this would be a huge benefit, especially for our B2B customers. If we talk about operations and assets, increasing punctuality, increasing safety, That's a core requirement we have to fulfill. And of course, also the reduction of costs and the increasing of productivity is really in the focus. The railway network is very dense in Austria. So we have a few lines with a lot of traffic, international traffic, but we have also low priority lines. And especially on low priority lines, digitalization and standardization is a possibility to reduce costs and to improve the train service for the passengers there. But this is only possible if we also generate the know-how which is needed, and if we always try to explain our employees how they can really bring their ideas to the right point at the company. So here you have an overview about different projects and initiatives, but I don't want to go into detail because we don't have the time for that. But maybe 2 examples. First, data networks, Data Network 2020, and the transmission networks. That's also an area where we have a very close cooperation with Huawei. Because if you don't have a data network, a powerful data network, digitalization will not work. So you need a very good network, high bandwidth, modern architecture. If this is not the case, then you cannot put the digital application on it. Building information modeling is also used. Why that? We build tunnels, new build lines, railway stations, and building information modeling is a possibility how you can bring digitalization to a very traditional area to construction works. And not only for the construction phase, only for the operation and maintenance phase afterwards, building information modeling in Austria is used. 2 very interesting, from my point of view, projects from these digital initiatives connected to the operations part is, from my point of view, the train running checkpoints. The train running checkpoints are necessary because we want to have a digital image of our trains. In the past, you had many people, like this colleague here on the left-hand side, standing with his beautiful uniform next to the railway track and checks if the train is okay, if there is any problem, and if he could see a problem, then he informed the central dispatching center. So these people are no more there because they are now sitting in a remote control center. So what we have to do is install many sensors and technology, like you can see on the 2 pictures on the right-hand side. That's necessary to know if every train is in a good condition, and this is necessary because we do not have people anymore all over Austria to check the trains when they are running via a train station. So what's the architecture and what's possible to monitor with such a train running point? So we know the derailment detection, we have dragging equipment detection, a wheel impact load detection, profile validation, hotbox detection, and many more. But most important is that we build portals, and the train can run via this portal with a speed of 250 kilometers per hour, and we check all the different measures, and if there is a problem, then we send this information to a centralized system, and we can automatically set the right actions based on that. Another important project is the project called Greenlight. As I told you before, we are also energy supplier for the railway system, and therefore we installed smart metering equipment in many locomotives. But smart metering is fine. We can do more with this equipment in every train. So we installed additional GNSS equipment and connecting this to different systems which were already in place. We have now the possibility to check the location of each train in our network with an accuracy of about 30 centimeters. And that's really important because if you think about automatic train operation, you need to know very exact where a train is, what's the speed, and what's the relative position to other trains in the area. So we took different systems, connected the systems together, and now we got for every train the route information, the operational information, technical information, and via a so-called info hub, it is possible to bring this information to all the stakeholders within our network who need this. It's always important if you invest in such a system that you transport to the management, that you transport to all your customers what's the added value. So this is a very simple a task in that case because we can improve maintenance, operating procedures, traveler information only by installing a little piece of technology in our trains. So, as you might know, the railway system is a very complex one, and I would like to summarize everything regarding the use cases, what I told you in a short video, which is on the next slide, hopefully.
The Rail Power Box is used for energy counting and cross-border traffic evaluation. It automatically and accurately records the energy consumption per traction unit, as well as the associated location data, including country identification. In this way, sustainable energy management can save energy and costs in the long term. With the Rail Power client, the recorded data can be retrieved from anywhere in Europe around the clock. Thanks to the research project Greenlight, the position monitoring of your locomotives with centimeter accuracy will no longer be a problem. The precise positioning data of the locomotive form the basis for optimizing operations management. Efficiency and thus profitability can be increased, and customers can be provided with the most precise travel information. The acquisition and evaluation of extensive wagon and train data contribute significantly to the optimization of safety. At the ÖBB Infra train running checkpoints, ZLCP, vehicles and their loads are checked for condition, defects, and damage by a large number of sensors and measurement equipment. The measurement data is processed in real time in the switching station and at the ZLCP control center, and alarms are transmitted directly to the respective dispatcher. Extended monitoring in the form of tendency recognition will make it possible to detect and prevent defects and hazards at an early stage. The ÖBB Infra Info Hub serves as the main interface for data exchange. Upon customer request, data can be made available as raw data.
Okay, so I tried to give you an overview about our digital business strategy, about some use cases which are already in place. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully I'll see you soon traveling by train in Austria. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Christian Zaagmeister from ÖBB Austria. And that brings us back to Barcelona, where Huawei is here today to not only thank our honorable guests and our speakers, but predominantly to thank you for your time and your availability to listen to us and to work with us in understanding how digital transformation works. We are back in Barcelona, where Huawei wants to bring digital to every home, person, and organization to build a fully connected digital world. This is almost the end of this Digital Transformation for Industry Summit. On your way out, please return the translation device. preferably don't leave it on your chair, but give it to one of the staff on your way out. There should be a QR code either behind me or also on your way out, where if you have time, if you can scan it and let us know a bit in the questionnaire what you think about this summit. And last but not least, because that is on your way out, in Hall 7, Huawei Enterprise has a huge booth area, and at this moment we have a cocktails and drinks party to which you all are invited. This is the end of the Digital Transformation for Industries Summit. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Adiós.